Reiki is a system of natural healing comprised of meditative practices, healing symbols, energy attunements, the 5 Reiki precepts, and hands on healing techniques. Now, there are lots of different styles of Reiki, but these are the components that are common to all of them. Now, originally, Reiki's full name was Usui Reiki Ryoho, and it originated in Japan in the early 1900s. And the name of its founder was Mikao Usui. After Usui's death, Reiki was modified by his successors. Now, some of the styles that evolved remained more Japanese in nature, while others became westernized. And at the bottom there, it says Gakkai influence, and the Gakkai grew from Usui's original Reiki association. Nowadays, little is known outside of Japan about its teachings, although some do their best to follow the bits and pieces that are known. Now, how do you tell the difference between the Japanese and the Western styles of Reiki? There is some overlap, and sometimes it's not 100% clear, especially if you're like searching online. But some of the notable characteristics of the Western styles of Reiki is that they emphasize a specific sequence of hand placements during the treatments. They're used for healing, of course, but in modern times, also seen as, for example, part of a spa treatment for general relaxation. And some of the Western styles describe a certain more like application of Reiki for a specific outcome, but they're not really a new distinct method of Reiki, like some of the ones mentioned on that previous page. Now, the Japanese styles, including the little bits that we know of the teachings of the Gakkai, the notable characteristics here is more of a focus on intuitive placements of the hands rather than using a standard sequence. There's more of an emphasis on self-healing, meditation, breathing practices. It's used for healing of the body and mind and with less variation um, from the traditional styles. And of course, it mirrors Japanese culture more closely, focusing things on stillness, awareness, and just being present. Now, on the next slide are some of the names of those Western Reiki protocols used to try to produce a desired outcome or that include sometimes other healing modalities. And these are the ones I mentioned. They aren't really new methods of Reiki, but applications of Reiki after you've already learned to work with it. Now, if you have ever searched for Reiki, you will see that there are many, many kinds. These here are just some of the more common ones that I tend to see. Angel Reiki, Money Reiki, Quantum Reiki, DNA Reiki, ASMR Reiki, Ascension Reiki, Crystal Reiki, Chakra Reiki, Psychic Reiki. And those tend to be, remember, more the applications of Reiki. That is, ways to use it after you've learned the basics, not like a whole new method of Reiki. Usually, they teach how to use Reiki to help with, for example, abundance, or with crystals, or to use your psychic abilities along with Reiki. Now, some of these, not only the ones that I mentioned, but the variations of those, and then the many, many others that you see, they may not even be Reiki at all. Instead, they might be other energy healing methods using the term Reiki when really they're referring to energy in general. So you might be asking, but Reiki is energy, and you're saying these are energy techniques, so why isn't it a kind of Reiki? Well, Reiki is a Japanese word, and ki is the word for life force energy. It gives life to and animates our material world, including plants, animals, human beings. Everything is energy. So, Reiki is one kind of ki or energy, and it's also the name of the healing system that originated in Japan. The ki in Reiki is universal life force energy that's also known as chi or prana, etc., in different languages. Sometimes the two meanings of Reiki overlap or they get mixed up. The ki, that's general energy, Reiki, that's a kind of energy, and then Reiki, which is the name of the healing system. So that's why it can be very confusing to know what you've actually learned. And plus, there are so many different styles and applications of Reiki. That's why it happens so often that maybe a friend will have learned something completely different from you and also be calling it Reiki. It's so easy to have taken a Reiki class, but still feel like you really don't understand exactly what Reiki is or how to use it. So, how do you know if you've actually learned that Reiki system of natural healing, an application of Reiki to use for a specific outcome, or another type of energy healing altogether? To find your answer, let's go back to the definition of Reiki we started with right at the beginning. Reiki is a system of natural healing comprised of meditative practices, healing symbols, energy attunements, 5 Reiki precepts, and hands-on healing. So even though the systems might seem different, you're going to look for these 5 parts of the healing system to identify it as Reiki. And this summary is from a book by a pretty well-known Reiki teacher and researcher and author, Franz Steiner. So does all this even matter? Why is it important to find out what is real Reiki? This actually can be a very controversial topic, and that's why I'm making this video. But the real question, I think the way to figure it out, the real question isn't whether or not you learned whatever real Reiki is. It's whether what you did learn fits into what you want to do with Reiki. Because many people are practicing some energy healing techniques that are meaning and effective, even if they don't fit neatly into a traditional Reiki framework. And there's really no problem then if you're happy with what you're doing. It probably doesn't matter what you call your practice if you enjoy it, feels light and easy, and you feel like you're getting the support that you want from it. If you feel confident working on yourself and on others, you're getting good feedback, and you're not confused or worried by what you learned or didn't learn, then there may be nothing to change or to reconsider. However, if you do feel unsure, confused, or dissatisfied with what you learned, even after you've been practicing for a while, then maybe it is time to reevaluate and make some changes. You see, some people realize that what they learned was one of those protocols or applications, but they never learned the underlying Reiki system that those techniques were based on. Or in the class they took, they may have got a lot of information about what Reiki is, but not really about how to do their daily practice or how to work with others. So a lot of information, but not as much how to actually do it and what happens when you have questions, when things come up as you begin to practice, either working with yourself or with others. So ask yourself the following questions to get a better understanding of the training you took, what kind of Reiki it is if you don't already know, and whether or not you need to learn something more or different. So, did you learn those 5 common components to all different styles of the Reiki system of natural healing? Here they are again: the meditative practices, the healing symbols, energy attunements, 5 Reiki precepts, and the hands on healing techniques. Did you complete that 21-day self Reiki healing? Do you feel confident doing a self healing? And what about treating others? Do you know your Reiki lineage? And that means the line of teachers that comes from you, your teacher, their teacher, their teacher, that leads all the way back to Reiki's founder, Mikao Usui. Now, if you learned special applications or techniques such as money Reiki, crystal Reiki, etc., did you learn instructions on how to use those components, but not the 5 components of Reiki itself? Another common example is maybe you paid for an attunement without receiving any instruction or support from a qualified teacher with a lineage back to Usui. And if you learned online, did you have communication with a teacher? And whether online or in person, is your teacher available for ongoing support? So, what did you decide? What do you think? Did you learn Reiki or did you not learn Reiki? So, if you feel satisfied that you've had some solid Reiki training, then what comes next? Well, you continue deepening. There's always more to learn. Reiki is an ongoing practice and a life path. It's simple to learn, but we have the capacity for infinite skill, awareness, and growth. Now, what if you feel like you didn't really learn Reiki? What's next then? So ask yourself, is your energy practice, whatever it is it working for you? Then just keep going and don't worry. If not, use the ideas from this video to help decide what is missing. Do some research and always follow your heart. Find a teacher that you can connect with and that you feel like has the qualifications that you're looking for. And also, don't worry about it. Reiki is a journey. We're always learning something no matter what kind of class that we take. It's a journey and it's a practice. One step leads to the next and the next. Stay light and peaceful. Enjoy your life. Now, just a note here, if you are or want to offer a Reiki-like energy healing technique that's not exactly Reiki, if your practice doesn't fit into the category of Reiki per se, of course, if you're happy, there's no need to change it. For the sake of your clients and students, though, it may be worth noticing how the word Reiki is being used, if in fact you are using it. Because clear, accurate language helps people find the right kind of support and avoids confusion, especially in spaces where Reiki is used as both a spiritual practice and sometimes more of a marketing term. So, as we've seen, and as you may have already known, there are many, many ways to work with energy, and Reiki is just one specific system among them. All of them are good as long as it's working for you, as long as you're getting good feedback and you feel solid and confident. But knowing the difference between Reiki and other healing methods and knowing exactly what you are offering supports clarity for your current or future learning, your own learning, for your clients or students, and for thoughtful communication in the global Reiki community.